So for me, participatory is breaking down the barriers.
Something that's participatory should be very invested with equality and democracy.
I think that, you know, the participatory side really means inclusion rather than exclusion.
Most of the meetings that we have, so if everybody's okay with that, we are documenting the process of this entire project, and at the end we'll wrap everything together in a nice little video that just tells other people what we did, how we did it, and why we did it. Started to come up with this idea of doing a participatory video where we engage youth and students and people that aren't normally heard through City of Vancouver or traditional planning processes, and encourage them to provide feedback, ideas, and concepts to the city. So we've been talking a lot about participation as a planner. How do you engage and work with community members? How do you be part of that community? The representation of voice, the role that biases and perceptions have in decision making. But we're going to try and let the groups form somewhat organically, and the theme definition will be a main part of that. And this is a collective project, so it's everybody's common interest here, whether or not you come as a student or a youth from projections. We're looking for a collective shared vision.
And it's going to guide us through sort of word association. Again, the idea is to try and brainstorm some initial feelings, ideas, and concepts that we have with regards to the Greenway, and then those will develop out into potentially larger themes.
Is it anything that they think is off the top of their heads? I want you to just yell it out at me, and I'm going to write them all down as fast as I can. Ready, set, go!
The person who's designing to have the water come through is thinking, man, this is telling the history of this space as a water course. Designers are trying to tell that story as well through expression and design.
So I think an interesting thing would be to try to show that we're all moving towards the same goal, and if we stop fighting each other, then we could do something.
There is an idea that you're going to set out with, and in our case especially, since we do want to get these out to the public and the community to see them, is what are you really going to try to do? What are you going to try to say with this film? What is the voice of this film? What's your intention with this film?
I'm thinking like sort of Michael Moore-ish kind of thing, but without being
Michael Moore.
Exactly. Slightly trying to use people's words, not necessarily against them, but pointing out what some of the contradictions are. And I think it can be really powerful just to let people speak and let them vocalize what it is they see valuable about this neighborhood and where they want things to go.
It'd be an interesting analysis of the language that's being used by the city, by businesses, by different people in the neighborhood around safety and the social issues, poverty, drug abuse.
Of this project is, you're supposed to be participatory with your group, so we're sort of suggesting one of the first things to do is to sit down with your group and watch the footage that you have and revisit your treatment that you wrote initially, look at the footage and then engage in a discussion with your group.
Editing is and what it means. I mean, like, your options are so huge, right? You just, anything, you can rearrange things so many different ways.
Do you guys feel that if we do like a voiceover explanation of what the plan is, that it would ruin the flow that we have with the interviews and stuff?
Because you only have 5 minutes to get rid of some of the extraneous stuff. But I don't know how that'll affect the flow.
I don't know, in some ways it seems more honest to like not cut the interviews at all, to keep it at the length that it is.
So we interviewed a whole bunch of people and took
things that they wanted to see on the Greenway and sort of brought them to life.
We've put in some archival footage just yesterday and could definitely use feedback on that, how it fits.
It's an exploration of language used around development projects in Vancouver, how the residents in the community react to that language and interpret it and think that maybe it obscures possible solutions and it obscures the reality.
There's times when you kind of have, you stay on the interview and then go to the archival and there's kind of a gap. You could have the voiceover.
What you could maybe do is bring in a word, like one of the words that you explore sooner, and connect that to a series of different images.
So for me, participatory is breaking down the barriers.
Something that's participatory should be very invested with equality and democracy.
I think that, you know, the participatory side really means inclusion rather than exclusion.